And hello good people of the internet, it is I, Tommy Kelly, and this is Adventures in Woo Woo. And in this episode we're going to do some more card readings, or some more fortune telling with the 47s. So yes, 47s. It's coming up to that time of year, as I throw the box on the ground, where it's their birthday. 3 years to 47s. In some ways it seems like an awful lot longer, and in some ways it seems an awful lot shorter. But anyway, we'll not dilly-dally too much, we'll get into this. So what I did is I put up the question to the patrons and asked for some questions for me to do some divination using the 47s. I said, I'm going to do one card, so it can't be too complicated, don't make it too personal, and we'll see how we go. So we get straight into it. What I like to do at the beginning of a reading, especially if I'm doing it for other people, is to obviously shuffle up the cards, get the energy going, but also pick a card just to make sure it's all good for me to do it. And I get the Messenger. So I assume I can't get a better card than that if I'm going to be sending messages to other people on, by doing divination. So that's good enough for me. So we'll get straight into this. So, Daniel Lockwood, will I receive a large check soon? Now, with the nature of these kind of questions, it's basically a yes or a no. And so how I would approach that is that if the card is generally positive, that's your yes. If the card is generally negative, that's a no. And of course, we'll probably get something in the middle, but we get the giver. So that seems like a positive to me, and that is a yes. So Daniel, yes, you will get a large check soon. Kristen Ross, am I on the right track yet? Which implies that you're searching about for different tracks to make sure you're on the right one. So that's more of an open question, and therefore we wouldn't be approaching it from a yes or no point of view, even though you could just go with a yes or a no. It seems to be this will come with a caveat or some sort of message attached to it. So it feels. So we have the Contemplator. So the Contemplator is like your subconscious in action. It's that which is kind of going on behind the scenes, and that which we are unknown. There's kind of a thing where there's two kind of unknowns in the world. There's an unknown out there, which is all the things we know out there, and then including the unknown unknowns, and the unknown within us, which is the subconscious. And this is kind of, the Contemplator is that which is in touch with that. That's which knows all things. So this to me would suggest that even in your question, there's a quest, there's a kind of an idea of, am I on the right track, this pursuit, this kind of thing. And what it's kind of suggesting to me through this card is that you may need to mull over a bit more of what you actually want, and that maybe your loss of, maybe your directionless is more that you're not really sure what you want. And like me, I'm the worst person in the world for this, because I find it very hard to actually know what I want. In general, I think we're much better at knowing what we don't want, which is a good place to start, but it's probably ultimately bad magic in just that you're just aware of the negative stuff. So I would say this card suggests that you need to mull it over a bit more, or being that it's the subconscious, is to leave the decision making, or to leave it over a bit more, to a kind of surrender to it a bit more, and not maybe overanalyze it, not use the intellect, not use the analytical part of your brain, this thing that wants to make the right decision, the correct decision, all that, and just leave it, let it mull, let it gestate, let it just kind of be. So that's the kind of feeling I'm getting from that. Hope that's helpful. George Soulier, will I get out of this rut I'm in? Again, this is kind of a yes or a no thing, so I'm going to approach it more in I suppose, how do I get out of this rut I'm in, rather than will I get out? See what we get. The media. So this instantly, I get the idea of job applications, of putting, not necessarily new job, but putting yourself forward for better jobs, for promotions, for making the world see you in a better light, seeing yourself in a better light. Perhaps the person who needs to be convinced of who needs a bit of PR management, a PR business, is you to yourself. Maybe you need to feel a bit better about yourself. Maybe you need to broaden your horizons in the work kind of a thing. So it's kind of, the media would suggest that you have to put a word out on yourself. You have to improve your kind of public image, and that might be your private image to yourself, you know, but your that which you're projecting. You have to feel a bit better about yourself. You have to make the world feel a bit better about you. No, I don't mean it that way because that sounds kind of bad. You have to kind of work on this whole idea of who you are and the position you've put yourself in, and kind of the rut you've put yourself in by your limiting thoughts and your PR that you're doing to yourself, your mental kind of thing that you're doing, or your general emotions around who you are and stuff like that. So when you change that, that will be reflected in the world around you. Look at that, George. Abraxas. How will this move work out for me? Let's see. The devil. So, Abraxas, the devil is the limiting things that we bring to the table ourselves. Not the outside forces, not the things in the world, not like the laws, not like the societal rules or these things. It's the imposition or the limitations we put on ourselves. So how will this move work out for me? It would work out far better if you got out of your own way, is kind of the suggestion there. That and being that you're moving, it's that whole idea too, is no matter where you go, there you are. You know, that you bring yourself to these things. So if you're looking for, in a sense, a move that will make you different, what you will ultimately probably find is the you, the I within you, is going to be the same no matter where you are. And that may not be what you want. You know, if you're looking for something, you're looking to change the outside so that your inside changes, that's probably not going to be what's going to happen. That helps in some way. Matti, is it Matti or Matt? Mate Bende. Excuse my, it's a continuing trend of butchering people's names. So Mate Bende, or Bend, please tell me. I'd like a general reading on my situation, some pointers on what I should focus on because it is a whole lot of mess right now. Right. Okay, so a general kind of, what do I need to know right now kind of thing. So, the guru. So, excuse me, the fixer. In my head, I know that I had the image, but it came out the guru. So we'll keep that in mind. So the fixer is obviously, are you willing to pay the price for whatever it is? And maybe you're not willing to pay the price. Maybe you're not willing to put in the effort. Maybe you're not willing to take the risk. So if things are a bit all over the place, it could be that you're just not doing the things that have to be done to get to where you want to be. And it's not necessarily laziness. It can be fear. It can be, it can be because you're afraid of hurting other people's feelings. It can be a whole host of things. So it's not just a laziness thing that we hear, willing to put in the effort. It's not that necessarily that. You're just not willing to pay the price. It might be too high a price. Maybe you have to go through the whole kind of idea of working out whether being where you are now is worth, if the pain of changing this is worth getting away from where you are now. Now, because I said the guru, that I want to just touch on that, and the guru is practical use of knowledge and intellect. So it is something along those lines as well, that you need to actually do something rather than just know things. Like, it's all well and good knowing vast amounts of information about plumbing, but if you don't know how to fix a leaky tap, that's no good. So what you have to do is apply the practical knowledge and fix the leaky tap, and be willing to do whatever it is to get out of where it is. My suggestions. Spirit. Will I get a raise in my current job? Again, we're just going to go with a strict yes or no on this. Positive card, yes. Negative card, no. Neutral card would suggest we don't know. The Desperate. Can't get more negative card than that. So the cards would suggest no. You're not going to get a raise at your current job. Ariana Bluie. Is AI the right company for me? I would hope that that's not actually the company name. If it is, don't do it me. So is this company the best, is the right company for you? In that, is it the right place for you to go? Is it the right place for you to buy? Maybe you're buying the company. Is it generally a good move? Again, it's going to be a yes or no type of situation. Dancer. Now, what this would suggest is that perhaps you are going to have to just go with it in a sense. You're going to have to go with what's going on, and that what you're looking for comes with the fact of that you have to go with the flow for a while. That not necessarily everything you want, it's not all good, it's not all bad, it's just how it is, and just going with it and understanding that understanding that perfect for you now may not mean right in the sense of it may not tick all the checklist of what you want or what you would accept as being right for you, and that sometimes you just have to go with things as it is. So it's suggesting that, is it the right company for you? Yes, but with baggage. Okay. Diana Caprao. Am I pronouncing that right? Did I successfully tap into the timeline that is most beneficial for my future? So this sounds like dimensional hopping, or dimensional, is it hopping? Dimensional, my brain freeze. Going into a new dimension, in the kind of multiple worlds theory type thing, I assume. So did I successfully tap into the timeline that's most beneficial for my future? Yeah, I'm going with this kind of yes or no. The Witch, which is a very positive card for me, but it implies that there's magic in it. There's a trickster element to the Witch that not many see. So yes, most beneficial for you, but in a trickstery type way. In that it's not necessarily just I've arrived, everything's perfect now, awesome. It's that kind of archetype of the trickstery type thing. Magic, magic in the air. Magic will fuck you, excuse my language, but it'll get you what you want in the most dickish way possible. It gets you what you want the most dickish way possible. But always seems to have, not necessarily that there's an element of badness to it, or malice to it, but it'll get you what you want, but it'll teach you a lesson on the way. That's what more I think what this is pointing at. That's a yes, but watch out. You're about to learn something. Darcy Bittencourt. I applied for a new job opportunity. When they're going to call me? Well, you see, the problem with these sort of questions is there's no card that I can take out that is Thursday at 4 o'clock, or this week, or anything like that. So, to answer that, which I will, I'll pick a card and we'll talk about it, but what would you be looking for from a card reading, in that way, in kind of sense? Just for future questions, Darcy, just kind of going, how could I possibly answer it? What could I give you from a card? So we'll see what I can give you. The Carnal. They're going to call you, or they're going to, your job will call, or the opportunities will arrive when you start feeling better about yourself, when you present yourself a bit better. And I don't mean that in that you kind of make yourself more appealing to them, but you make yourself more appealing to you, so you're more confident, that you're more able to do this, that that you feel that you're competent enough for this kind of thing, that there kind of seems like maybe there isn't enough confidence that you have. Again, there's no way from getting the Carnal that would ever translate into Saturday at 3 o'clock or in the next 2 weeks or whatever, so I'm not really sure. I hope that helps. Adorkable, which is my favourite name of all time. I just love it. Will I get a job before the end of the year? So again, we're going with a yes or no. Lots of yes or no's in these. The Desperate. That's a no, but it's a good time as ever to stress that by the very nature of how divination works, if you believe it, for a start, it might all be rubbish, might all be bullshit, and we have to be open to that it might just be hearing things we want to hear, not hearing one things. Sometimes coincidence, sometimes synchronicity. But as soon as you get your answer, you've already changed the future. So even you got a no, and a very kind of definitive no there, taking that on board and having that energy and seeing that now, you could work harder towards something than you would have done had you not got it. So you might still get one, but it's kind of in defiance of the card, or because of the card. Had you not pulled the card, had you not asked the question, the answer would be no. But now that you kind of are aware of the future, you can change the future. None of this is written in stone, and also we must all just take this as advice, with a grain of salt, as a kind of another friend just talking in your ear, not as the word of God, not as it's written in stone, and not as anything close to that. So I hope you do get a job before the end of the year. Caitlin Sinclair, what is blocking me from having lasting friendships? Well, that's sad that you're not having lasting friendships. Or not, if you're a type of person who didn't want them, but I assume by your question that you do want them. I sometimes have the opposite problem. Not that I make friends very easily, and if you know me, which you've watched a good few of my videos going by message, leave me, then sometimes I need time of my own, so I kind of have the other problem. How do I get people to stay away from me? But neither here nor there. Let's answer your question, not Tommy's question. Fortunate. Well, that's kind of a smart arse answer, if you want, in that you can have lasting friends if you know that kind of thing, fair weather friends. When people are around you for the wrong reasons, like say you suddenly become rich and famous, then you'll definitely have long-lasting friends, but they'll be pariahs on you, they're not real friends. So I suppose kind of what it's saying there, rather than saying you need good fortune for this, I think there is that kind of, again, the trickstery thing in it, that it's saying that you should be thinking, rather than lasting friends, you should be more focused on, or perhaps just have a kind of a thing around this where you're working on maybe shorter but good friends, friendships that are great in the moment, that they don't have to last 20 years for to have a profound impact on you, to have, to change you, to move you in the right directions, to whatever it is that you want from friendships. That although it can be sad to let people go and all that, see them for where they are, and just because it's long lasting doesn't make it a good friendship, and to concentrate on the quality of good friendships, even if that's kind of fleeting. That's what I would suggest. And that's the one downside, I suppose, of using the DSLR rather than the DJI Pocket, is that you have a time limitation of 20 minutes. Such is. Ramona Hilly Swartz. Again, I hope I'm getting that right. What is the next best step to get the one I love back into my arms? It only needs a little push, but which one? Well, I would suggest, as I've talked about on the podcast, and not to do that. I don't think love magic ever works out. That target specific love magic, getting your ex back, that type of stuff, never works well. Always, you will regret it. It will make things worse. It will make things harder. It will make the situation longer lasting than it needs to be, and it will increase your pain. That's my advice. That's the predominant kind of result of doing that, trying to get my ex back magic stuff. So I don't recommend it at all. I would focus more on feeling better about yourself, working on love in general, attracting love, better things into your life, all of that kind of stuff, using magic to move on, all of that, rather than trying to get your back in. But that's me. To each their own. So we'll see what the cards say. The Devil. Cards agree with me, sad to say. Again, holding yourself back, putting limitations in your way, focusing on your ex as that thing that you need for love, to get love back into your arms, to get one, that thing is like, that's limiting you. That's the thing that's stopping you from being and getting the actual thing you want, which is love and a relation. So it's all very hard, and love and relationships and all that kind of, it's so messy, and it can be so sad and depressing, and no one ever wants to hear that you should give up on love and stuff like that. And I don't know your situation, and maybe you shouldn't give up on love, and maybe someone in a completely different country from you spouting out random magic talk and picking cards is complete wrong advice to be given you, and maybe you should pursue it with all your heart and all your might, and maybe you will get it. My experience and the card I pulled out of the deck today would say otherwise. But you are the master of your own domain, and you do what you want. You do what you need. You do what you believe is the strongest. And good luck in whatever way it works out. I hope you do find happiness. Louisa, what's going on with Henry? It sounds like a book from the late 1900s, early or 50s or something, or some sort of epoch in the past. What is going on with Henry? Now I'm intrigued. I want to know what is going on with Henry. We all want to know. The dancer. So, without knowing anything else other than Henry's name, Henry's going through something that he needs to experience. He needs to go through it. He needs to see what it is. Henry is excluding and secluding himself in order to integrate something that has happened into him, who has seen a hope dash, a wish unfulfilled, something has gone wrong, and while it kind of isn't what he wanted, he's okay, he will be okay, and he just has to experience it. It's like, come back to the kind of the lost love thing. Sometimes you just have to experience the love loss, the separation, the breakup. You have to experience that. That has to happen. That's something you have to go through in order to get past it. And so that's what I feel for Henry, without knowing anything about him or anything else other than that he has to dance in the rain. Sometimes life isn't good and you just have to get on with it. And he's in some way getting on with it. What seems to be, while from that side might look good, he's going to be okay. He's doing it. He's doing the work. Rory Kelly. What's the best mindset for me to have to stay financially healthy throughout the winter? I'm a freelance musician. This is my slow season. Yes. It's funny though that winter would be the move to Ireland because you'll get loads of gigs. Winter would be a big thing because people, shorter or darker evenings, colder. People go out, seem to go out more, get less of it and so on. And anyway, let's see what the cards say. The conductor. Interesting that the most musical card is the one that comes out for you. The conductor suggests that you should take the control of your life back. So rather than kind of waiting for people to come to you and give you gigs, whatever, create your own opportunities. Stop, rather than waiting for a promoter or ringing a promoter trying to organise gigs or whatever it is for you, go and engage yourself and come up with the opportunities yourself. Take the reins into your own hands, take the batons into your own hands, make the orchestra, do the music that you want to do. Don't be limiting yourself to seasons and to what happens mostly or what's normal or whatever. Make your own rules, make your own opportunities, go out, put your kind of stamp on the world. And good luck. Musicians, I was a musician, I suppose I still am, although I haven't played in a while. I know the life, I understand. It's a tough one, it's tough. It's no working in a coal mine tough, but it's still tough. Steve. What is the most influential thing that is getting in the way of me developing stronger self-discipline? Without knowing anything about you, I will say you are, but that's obviously smart or smart art. And you didn't ask me, you asked the cards, so let's see what the cards say. Fixer. What is getting in the way of you developing stronger self-discipline and you're not willing to do the work? You're not doing what has to be done to get what you want. So it's like, if you want to run every day, you have to get up in the morning and run every day. And it's not just suddenly you will arrive, discipline arrives and it makes it easier. The thing with discipline is doing the hard thing anyway, even though it's hard, even though you don't want to do it. It's getting out of your bed and going for the run, or whatever is the thing. It's not that suddenly you want to do the run, or suddenly you want to exercise, or suddenly you want to stop eating and go on the diet. It's being hungry and not eating the thing. That's the discipline. So what is holding you back? Being unwilling to actually do the thing and probably waiting for it to be to a point where it would be easy. It's not going to be easy. You have to do it when it's hard. That's the discipline. And the last one, Pamela. Is this relationship worth pursuing even though we have different life goals? Okay, I'm not giving my opinion. I've given enough of my opinion in this session. See the cards. Balancer. So I would say yes, it is worth pursuing if you take it with balance, and which I suppose in this kind of thing is compromise, and so that you can have two life goals, but if you compromise and meet in the middle, it could be a successful pairing for you. All relationships are compromises. All life is a compromise. Everything is compromising, so you're not compromising on your ideals by compromising. So I would say yeah, it's a positive card. The balancer is something that we all strive to have in our life, is balance. And differing goals can lead to pulling in different directions, but it can also lead to growth of both people, doing stuff that you wouldn't normally have done because the other person is into it, and deciding along the way that was a worthwhile thing or something that you're more interested in. Being around someone who say even something as mundane, I suppose, is having a different hobby, and then realizing, or understanding the passion through their eyes and stuff like that can be quite rewarding. All of these things. I remember back in the days when I was a musician, I used to sit in the back of the van when we were going to gigs, and I would talk to the drummer who was big into Formula One, and I got a big love for Formula One while I was in that situation. I think through him and him talking about it and seeing it through his eyes. As soon as I left that band, I had no interest in Formula One, and I didn't feel like a loss or anything, but it was just through the kind of interaction with him that I understood the love and the passion and could see the enjoyment. So having two different life goals can be quite beneficial once you understand that that's what's happening, and you're organised around it, throwing the cards on the ground to complete the circle. So, good people of the internet, that is the 47's cards readings for this month. I'm going to try and do it every month, and it will be for patrons, because as I explained in the last video, this is not to exclude non-patrons, but it's see it more as trying to give back to the people who do support all of these things. And I think even though if your question's not been asked, by seeing people doing readings, me or other people or whoever it is, you get a kind of better understanding of how readings are done or how different people approach different readings, and that can, help you integrate into your own kind of process of how you're doing. Don't think just because I have said something about the 47s that is the law, man. Always bring yourself to the table, and go with your own kind of highest power and highest ideal and all these things. Be that 47s, tarot, oracle cards, runes, or whatever it is. With the caveat of if you're doing a reading for yourself, you're always going to be blindsided by seeing what you want to see. So be careful of that. So good people of the internet, until our next adventure, be aware that the 47s are on sale at the minute for 25% off for another week. And the Halloween ritual is on this Thursday, Friday, one of those things, whenever Halloween is. So if you're interested in that, details will be in the show description. Until next time, good people of the internet, be well!